Hello, you're watching my YouTube channel. I'm your host, kamranarshad. Today, I've invited a guest to my vlog, and I want to discuss her life, her visions, her goals, and most importantly, her faith. So, today, I'm very delighted that we have Klaudia Khan with us to kick off. Could you tell us what inspired you to pursue a career and perhaps share a bit about your journey leading up to your current role? Klaudia, over to you.
Yes, thank you. Hello, Mr. Kamran, and hello, everyone. My current role. Okay, so I should perhaps introduce myself first. I am working simultaneously as a writer and as a humanitarian actor. I also used to be a teacher in my career, but currently I am not involved in any formal teaching. Even though it was for a long time my dream job, but I found that perhaps my abilities and my skills match other fields better. So I am writing. I am writing for Polish magazines most of the time and other platforms. For a long time, when I was living in the UK, I was affiliated with some Muslim lifestyle magazines. I also have some articles published in Pakistani newspapers, Express Tribune. And I am also a correspondent for a Polish radio 357, which is like an independent radio station. And I am the correspondent for Pakistan. And at the same time, I'm working as a humanitarian actor. I have been affiliated for a long time with Allied, which is international NGO active in Pakistan, where most of the programming is about education and opening schools and finding place in the classroom for out of school children. But Allied has also been active in Poland during Ukraine refugee crisis, and I was involved in that project as well. And recently, I am also working with United Refuge, which is another NGO active in different places, among them Gaza and Ukraine.
That's great. That's great. Impressive introduction. Okay, I'm gonna ask the personal question, if you don't mind. Can I ask?
Sure.
Actually, you are a born Muslim or you converted to Islam?
I reverted to Islam.
Oh, when? Can you share this story for us?
Yeah, when I moved to... Yeah, sure. So I moved to UK when I was around 18 to continue my education in London. And this was really the first place where I was exposed to Islam. I have made many Muslim friends. And because at that time I was not as close to to the faith that I was raised in, which is Catholic faith. I found Islam more logical and just more appealing to me. And with some introduction from my friends and some soul searching, visiting local mosques, I decided that this would be the best choice for me. And Alhamdulillah, it's been great.
Oh, that's great. You are the only one in your family that you converted to Islam, or what about your family?
Yes,
and what inspired
yes,
you to become a Muslim?
I just found Islam to be the most logical religion. So the logic of Islam is really inspiring. The simplicity, also the great care that is taken of the environment, the emphasis on being kind to all the creatures, the compassion that is central to Islam. This
How
was
the month of Ramadan?
Well, to begin with, it was a big struggle, but this year it was much easier. It was my, I don't know, 15th, 16th Ramadan, so now I can do it.
And the reaction of your family when you converted to Islam, they meet you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a surprise for them, but I've got a very supportive family in Poland, so I'm still very close to them, and we don't talk religion much, but we do occasionally share different books, or occasionally we talk about it, like things that we have in common and things that that are different for us now.
So do you talk about Islam with them?
Sorry?
Do you talk about Islam with them?
Well,
did you convince
if they
them
want to talk, I do
convert to
talk.
Islam?
I mean, obviously, I would like them to be guided, but I don't think that preaching would work really. I hope that my example and my being happy in Islam would inspire them someday. And obviously, I'm always open to talking about it. So whenever they, or sometimes even strangers, when I'm in Europe, they ask me questions. So I'm always okay to talk. And I think I'm happy when people ask me why Islam and why you do this or that, because I really like talking about it. So I don't mind this kind of questions. And I did have some conversations with strangers, like once in Krakow in Poland, I was buying stamps in a shop, and there was like elderly shop owner, and he talked to me like, why are you covering your head? Where are you living? And it led to quite a long discussion. Like I spent, I think, 2 hours in that shop, but I think it was great, and we both learned something. So
how long have you
I
been
do
in
enjoy
Islam?
this kind of encounters.
How long
Sorry?
have you been in Islam?
Since 2009.
2009. Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Klaudia, as a passionate writer, how do you use your platform to raise your awareness about sustainability issues and inspire action towards a more environmentally friendly future?
So I feel that many of the solutions for more environmentally friendly lifestyle are already there, and I just try to find them and point them out and tell them like, see, these people are already doing this, they are great at this. And quite often I find that these are indigenous people or local people who have their own ways of dealing with environment, of interacting with environment. So I'm really very passionate about traditional ecological knowledge. And here in Pakistan, we find many examples of traditional ecological knowledge in practice. And by that, I mean like traditional indigenous ways of interacting with the environment, taking care of the environment, of plants and animals, and all the landscape, all the environment that surrounds us. So I like when I say in Pakistan, I have not seen much of Pakistan. I mostly traveled in the northern Pakistan. So Gilgit-Baltistan is usually my first choice when it comes to holiday travel. So I did research on glacier drafting in Baltistan, and I found it really fascinating how people are able to kind of plant glaciers to ensure that they have a water supply. And this is a great example of a traditional ecological knowledge. But also in the northern areas, I find it really inspiring and fascinating how people cultivate that relationship with the living environment around them, and how it leads them to take good care of them, to be best stewards of the earth, of the planet, of the piece of planet that they have been given.
All right. Can you discuss your experience as a sustainability specialist? Why is that sustainability specialist?
Yeah. So for a long time, I mean, since like after my studies in London, I lived in the UK for quite some time, and writing for different magazines, I got really interested in sustainability, in like ecological lifestyle and so on. So I did my initial research into that. I talked to different people. Then after a few years, I decided to do my master's, and I did master's in sustainability, which gave me a really deep and profound knowledge of the field, and it really led me to better understanding of how things work and how I mean, we obviously experience a crisis now in terms of climate change and biodiversity loss and so on. But there are solutions there available. It's just that we need to push them further and make it quicker, make the changes for good quicker. So studying at Gothenburg University in Sweden allowed me to see those ways of sustainable change and how they can be applied and how a change for the better can be made possible. And then after my studies, I did teach a bit about sustainability. I took part in a few conferences, but mostly I was writing about it. So whatever I have learned, I try to pass the knowledge in my articles and my stories.
Klaudia, how do you integrate your knowledge and expertise into your writing to promote sustainable practices and solutions?
Yeah, so again, I try not to preach. So I just show that there are people who are doing great stuff, that there are solutions available. And so recently I was writing an article for a Polish magazine about traditional vernacular architecture, and especially how that kind of architecture is often the best solution for hot climates. So in Pakistan, I visited some villages. I visited Banu, where there are great many old buildings that were really designed in the with the local weather in mind, and they work fine. I mean, in the old buildings that were designed for the weather, you don't need air conditioning, and it works. I mean, temperature there is just fine because the walls are really thick, and the materials that are used are best suited for the local environment, local temperatures. And around the world, we see many such solutions. So I am showing that, people from a long time ago, they have worked out ways how to live more frugally, how to use less energy and yet have good life. So in Pakistan, I found this architecture that is like an example of it. In other places around the world, you see other examples. Like in Iran, they have this wind towers that are wind catchers, which are like kind of chimneys that catch wind and also work like air conditioning in the house. So
Klaudia, how long have you been in Pakistan, and how's your experience with Pakistani people?
So I've been living in Pakistan on and off for like 10 years. Like it was not continuous because I was living in between UK and Pakistan. So my experience is good. When I think about Pakistan, I don't think that there is one Pakistan because there is so much diversity. So people I met in Hunza are so much different to people I met in Lahore, and so much different to people I met in Peshawar, and different to what I see here in Islamabad. So there's huge diversity, but generally I always felt welcome, and yeah.
Have you ever been to Lahore?
Yes, I love Lahore. It has.
I'm from Lahore,
No, that great vibe.
Yeah. And what about your favorite dish in Pakistan?
In Pakistan, I really like Hunza cuisine.
Which one?
Not spicy. Hunza, the food from Hunza. It's my favorite. So I like apricot soup and dawdo soup and hoilo garma and so on. So these are my favorite food stuff.
All right, that's great. That's great. All right, let's move on. In your role as a dedicated humanitarian, what initiatives or projects have you been involved in to support marginalized communities or address social injustices? How do you see that?
Yeah, so working in Pakistan with Al-Aid, I was involved in projects that brought education to out-of-school children. And obviously, the problem of lack of education is one of the biggest that Pakistan is facing. There is education crisis. And our organization was involved in finding places for places in school for children who either dropped out of school or were never able to attend a lesson. So it was a really eye-opening experience because I did not, prior to coming to Pakistan, I was not even aware of the scale of the problem. It was a very enriching experience as well, because you see how important education is for many people and how something that you take for granted, if you live in Europe, you take education for granted because it's there available for free and it's always good quality, and here it's a struggle for many people. and a great injustice in many cases, because there are so many children who live in villages where they have no schools available, and it's not even a choice for their parents to send them to school or not. There's just no school, there is no choice for them. I was also involved in work with Afghan refugees living in Islamabad and elsewhere. I really enjoyed working with these communities, and I was really amazed by their resilience and by their creativity. And
They
by
feel
their
very
will
happy.
to,
I guess they feel very happy when they hear that you are the Muslim.
yes, I mean, I don't know, because I can speak Pashto as well, so I did speak Pashto with them. So I did not really, I don't know if they considered me like a foreigner really. And to be honest, yeah, like I don't get taken for a foreigner a lot. Like people don't pick me, like people don't recognize me as a foreigner on the street much. So yeah, but I really enjoyed working with these communities. And yeah, and I do hope that they will stay in Pakistan, because they are part of the diversity of this country, and I feel that they are enriching it in many ways.
Do you cover Pakistani politics as well? Do you take interest in Pakistani politics?
Interest, yeah, I do take interest, but it's Pakistani politics is obviously much more complicated, and not always easy to understand. But I try to follow the current news, and just be aware of what's happening.
So are you satisfied with the political situation of Pakistan right now? I'm asking about the financial crisis, the economic crisis, and unemployment crisis. These are the crises we are suffering. We all are suffering in Pakistan. So, do you see that we
Yes.
can get out from this crisis very soon?
Well, I feel that the way out of the crisis would be to make sure that everybody has equal access to everything, because I feel that the greatest problem in Pakistan is lack of justice. There's social injustice.
Uh,
Like there are people who are deprived of everything, and there are people who are not really bothered by the crisis because they're not much affected by it. And that injustice is what hurts me the most.
all right. Claudia, how do you combine your background as a qualified teacher with your passion for writing and humanitarian work to educate others about pressing global issues and foster positive change?
Yeah, so I mean, I combine different roles, but I don't do everything at once. So when I was a teacher, I was teaching global politics. So I was inspired much by my work as a humanitarian, and obviously the research that I did for my various articles. It also guided some of the choice of the topics that I talked about with my students. But it's really like one role is connected to another, because as a humanitarian, I come upon stories that I want to tell, and then I write those stories. When I write certain stories, sometimes I'm contacted by people who need help in sense of humanitarian aid. So one task leads to another, and it's all connected. So I am not a teacher and a humanitarian and a writer at one time at same time. But I switch the roles because they lead to one another.
Hmm, that's great. Okay, can you share an example of a project or campaign where you successfully merge your skills as a writer?
As a humanitarian, I do write a lot, because when we complete the projects or when we have some great achievements, it's always a success story that we want to share. So we want to share with people who are donating to fund our work, also with general public, like so they know that there is something good happening and it's worth talking about. Um, but also like being a humanitarian, it's all about values and passion. So you have to write it down, and you have to discuss it with people first, and then write it down to define your strategy and to define your goal and objective and aim in what you are doing.
Hmm. You have been living in Pakistan since 10 years, right?
Yeah, not continuously. As I said, I've been living in like between UK and Pakistan, but
All right.
for the last 2 years, I've been continuously.
So do you know how to speak in Urdu?
No, but I can speak in Pashto.
Sorry?
No, but I can speak in Pashto.
Okay, you can speak in Pashto. Why didn't you learn Urdu?
Well, my family is Pashto speaking, so I really had a good motivation to learn Pashto. But living in Islamabad, I never really needed Urdu. Like I can very easily communicate in English, and when there is no must to learn a language, it's hard to do it.
Can you speak 1 or 2 lines in Urdu?
Well, I can understand a bit. I don't know if I can say anything.
All right, Klaudia, no problem. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was a wonderful having you here and learning from your experiences. Before we wrap up, is there anything you would like to share with our audience or any message you would like to leave them with?
Well, thanks for inviting me. It was a pleasure talking to you. And yeah, so I just wanted to emphasize that the greatest thing about Pakistan is diversity, and this is something that we all should be proud of. The
Thank
wealth
you.
of cultures and diversity.
Thank you so much, Klaudia Khan. Once again, thank you very
Thank you.
much. Have a great day. Take care. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.